Hi, this is Eva from Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela, everybody. See all who is in. Yep. I think you heard me, right? Okay. Let me just check. It's doing something a little bit weird. Yeah, okay. I thought it was doing like a repeat feedback thing, but I don't think so. Okay. I thought I heard my own self. Okay. Preliminals in. Welcome. Florcandia. Oh, kind of quiet today. Shari D, welcome, welcome. Angels Don't Fall. Ronan the Voice. And Gainer. Crunchy Bee is in. Ronan the Voice is actually here on time. You're 4 minutes late, which is 1 minute later than me, or maybe like 10 seconds. So it worked out. Yeah, sorry, I was 20 minutes late, like last week. No, 2 weeks ago. You're right. Sorry about that. But I actually was so late that even when I put up the alarm for the video, it said I was going to be 20 minutes late because I got here like 1 minute before midnight. Sorry, I was more careful this time. All right, so what's going on? Which one to start with is the question of the hour, basically. All right, this one. And then I got to figure out who gave me this one. Not that person. Okay, this one is from Julie's Journey. Humans are growing an extra blood vessel. So, I don't know. There's always something going on. Learn more. Now, here's what's weird about this one. There's a lot of stuff in here that doesn't make sense. More humans are growing an extra blood vessel in our arm that feeds our hands, study shows. This is from October 10, 2020, so a year ago. I don't remember seeing this last year, but... Okay, so... Researchers from Flinders University and University of Adelaide have noticed an artery that temporarily runs down the center of our forearms while we're still in the womb isn't vanishing as often as it used to. So first of all, as usual nowadays, the title is wrong compared to what it says. They're saying we're growing an extra blood vessel, but now they're saying that this blood vessel is always grows, but it's not vanishing as fast. Let's see. So that means that there are more adults than ever running around with that amounts to be an extra channel of vascular tissue flowing under the wrist. Okay, now there's a double interesting thing here because if you see, it's this one down the center here, and a lot of us remember that being the actual location of where you take the pulse was in the center. And now, so it used to be like here, but now it's way off under here. So that's like a Mandela for a lot of people. And now it's like that blood vessel is coming back for some people. The prevalence was around 10% in people born in the mid-1880s compared to 30% in those born in the late 20th centuries. So that's a significant increase in the fairly short period of time, which comes when it comes to evolution. So I don't really get how it would increase from 10% to 30% in 100 years because this one little piddly blood vessel probably does not contribute greatly to survival, especially survival up to childbearing age. So in order for evolution to be legit, a change has to contribute to survival so much so that more of those people survive to have offspring, and then those offsprings are more likely to have that trait, and therefore the percentage of population that has that trait grows. But in the last 100 years, I just don't see how this blood vessel really would have greatly contributed to survival. Maybe a few more percent people might have it. That would be a stretch. But this is not like that useful. So I feel like this is just complete bunk here, this story that this is evolution. Evolution doesn't work like that. At least how they teach it. And this article doesn't make sense. At around 8 weeks, it usually regresses, leaving the task to two other blood vessels, the radial, which we can feel when we take a person's pulse. Well, now you can, and the ulnar. Anatomists have known for some time that this withering away of the median artery isn't a guarantee. In some cases, it hangs around for another month or so. Sometimes we're born with it still pumping away, feeding either just the forearm or in some cases the hand as well. So, this whole concept now is like you have this vein, and then as a baby when you're born, and then it just dies out. That in itself is kind of weird. Let's see. The fact that artery seems to be 3 times as common in adults today as it was more than a century ago is a startling find that suggests natural selection is favoring those who hold on to this extra bit of blood supply. I just don't see how it would favor it enough to yield that result, though. This increase could have resulted from mutations of genes involved in median artery development or health problems in mothers during pregnancy. So health problems created an extra blood vessel? I guess it's possible. I don't really buy it, but if this trend continues, a majority of people will have median artery of the forearm by 2100. Gosh, I just keep thinking I hear a sound, and I guess it's not coming from the live stream. Good news for needle users, more veins to collapse. Maybe we're going to get, I don't know, medications via intravenous. Jumping ships in, Ronan the Voice, DD74. So yeah, that's what's weird is that extra blood vessels, but really it's the coming back of the blood vessel that people remember down the center of the wrist that used to be where you get the we used to get the pulse. So I'm thinking if I don't know, like can anybody get the pulse there anymore again? I'm just checking it right now. I just thought about that. This makes vampires smile. Yeah, there actually has been a lot of changes to the carotid, and there's more veins up in the neck, too. So speaking of happy vampires. So let's see. Where is that? It's here. So I'm pretty sure it's this one. So it seems to me like you might be able to catch it in here somewhere. But, I don't know if I have it because only 30% of people have it. I'm not feeling anything in there. I can find it up in here, though. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I know I'm not buying it, but whatever. Okay, then I saw an image of a shoebill. So a couple more weird things. Shoebills, Mandela by themselves, they just keep getting weirder. I noticed lately they're getting this little tuft. It really looks like sort of a cartoon thing. So here there's this new behavior I just saw today. A shoebill is engaging in what's called duck flinging, which is how this shoebill moves ducks that are on its way. In nature, there is no excuse me. So apparently, instead of just pushing through like a normal creature, it has to pick up the ducks and fling them out of the way. Okay. And it's probably not that comfy because there's like duck feathers flying after this duck gets flung. Oh, wait a minute. Dave? Oh, okay. Somebody just snuck into the house. Wait a minute, I'll be right back. False alarm. So Dave knows I'm supposed to be doing my live stream and he's not supposed to be in here. So his solution was to sneak in here, thinking I wouldn't hear the door creak open weirdly and realize that some weird person was in the house. Anyway, it was just Dave. False alarm. Yay. There's always something. Okay. So, okay, where are we? Duck flinging. All right, so here we have the ducks flinging. So there's something I noticed about this when I was looking at this image. If you look over here, I don't remember this part on Mr. Shoebill. I also want to say that the beaks have been slowly more striated and weird looking. There's a little tippy thing on top of the head. But yeah, there's a really sharp point here, and I'm quite positive that wasn't there. In fact, when I first saw the Shoebill, I really felt like it reminded me of very much of when you have a shoe and they would put those wooden pieces inside the shoe to like keep the shoe expanded in the right shape. And sometimes even if it's a little tight, like the leather ones, you would wedge those in there to kind of stretch them a little bit if you needed a little bit more stretch on your leather shoes. And the beaks were very similar, like so similar to that I could just totally imagine sticking one into a shoe. But they didn't have this on there, which kind of ruins the whole look. So they're you don't want to mess with these guys now. They've got this nasty hook. Looks like an image from another dimension. It doesn't look real. It's like yeah, you know, there was actually one of these little boogers on this joke Reddit channel called Birds Aren't Real, and it was like flapping its head and doing this thing, and it really looked like a Muppet. I mean, if somebody said Jim Henson made that, nobody would have doubted it. And even I didn't even say anything because I'm used to those, but a whole bunch of people on the comments was saying that doesn't even look real. I'm like, yeah. It's a shoe builder invading the house. Yeah, I wasn't worried about a Shoebill, to be honest. They're not native. But some creepy dude. It was Dave, though, for reals. He's like, he thinks, I'm like, Dave, is that you? Then he doesn't want to get caught. So then he's like, sneaks out of there really fast. It's like, I saw you, dude. Hand CPR got my attention. Oh, no, I've not heard of hand CPR. This sounds interesting. Hand CPR. How to perform hands-only CPR. Okay. All right, I might have seen this one before then. You just don't breathe in the mouth because you're circulating... now the pushing like circulates the blood around the body, and they were saying you don't really have to do the mouth thing because you're not really adding that much oxygen. So if that's what it's hands only CPR, then I think I've already covered that one. If it's something else, let me know. I saw an article where some group was trying to promote performing CPR chest compressions with your foot. You know, with the current storyline, why not? It's probably easier to push on it than the hands. Shari D is like, no. Wouldn't that just be like this timeline, though? That the way you bring somebody back to life is to stomp on their chest. I mean, that would totally fit in with everything anymore. Okay, so duck flinging, pointy beaks. Okay, this one. Who came up with this one? All right, this one was from Will Work for Answers, and he is on Reddit. He finds a lot of stuff. So basically, there's this new, for me, kind of sandstone, which is stone, you know. Sandstone is kind of like, it's just really sandy and it's not a really hard stone. However, I've never seen one like this. And bear in mind that I'm a rock hound, so we do kind of specialize in collecting weird stuff. Word gets around when there's weird stuff. So there is now weird stuff, basically. It's called itaclumite. Itaclumite. And I think it's spelled wrong here, unless this might be like another country's version of it. So this guy's got a piece of what is supposedly stone, sandstone, but still sandstone. It's kind of soft, but it should not be wiggly. But this stuff wiggles like almost like jello. So supposedly it goes a certain amount and then it'll kind of lock up. But it's weird. See if I can make it larger. Nope, that didn't help any.
You will notice this is kind of an unusual.
Okay, so see, he's wiggling it.
Flexible.
I'm gonna turn off the yapping. Doop. So see, this is a stone, and it's gonna go. Look at that. I mean, wood doesn't even wiggle that much, and he can bend it this way also. Rare sandstone flexes for the camera. That is some weird business. So supposedly it's really rare, but still, I have a feeling we're going to see more of this. I think this is just the first salvo in this Mandela. I don't know what, I don't know if this just, I always wonder, I mean, is this just the Mandela being weird and coming up with weird stuff? Or is there going to be some use for this down the road? Or, but just this movable rock thing, I would keep an eye on it. I think we're going to see more forms of this or something. Something's going to come down the chute with this. I remember Holland and Netherlands being the same, but now Holland is only a region of Netherlands. That's what I remember. Actually, I only remember them calling it Holland. It was named Holland for my whole childhood. I don't know what, up to 18 or something. And then all of a sudden it was called the Netherlands. And I'm like, what the hell's the Netherlands? Is that, I didn't know what it was when I first heard it. And then I look on the map, I'm like, oh, that's Holland. And then they're like, well, sometimes they call it Netherlands. Well, now apparently they've never called it Holland. So, okay, whatever. We all know that drill. He is from Holland. Yeah. Oh, okay, that dude was from Holland. Yeah, so that might be why the spelling of the stone was different. It might be like the Netherlands spelling. There's a new theory, well, old but Emmy new theory, opposing evolution, stabilization theory. It says that there are short periods of high mutation rates until a stable configuration is found, then slower. Yeah, could be. I mean, who the heck knows that whatever the reality wants to be true is going to be true, I think. Then we've got the epigenetics. So there's a lot more of this thing where, like, you can change after your genetic structure supposedly doesn't change that much, but then they're saying that viruses can add and subtract from your genetic structure. And then they're saying how your genetic structure is manifested depends on all these other factors that can change, and genes can be switched on and off according to that. Yeah, I watched this too. Never in 43 years, and I'm a big rock hound and custom stone licensed contractor that started at age 14. Well, cool. Sounds like a fun job, although hard work. Oh, yeah, the moving rocks that grow. Yeah, I covered that one, but it seems like they've gotten a lot bigger, the rocks that grow. How ridiculous should it get until everybody figure out the reality is not what we thought? I know. Rocks do grow where I live. I've dug up and removed all the rocks from a spot and dug it back up years later, exact same spot and rocks. You know, you do have to wonder. I've often wondered about that. People have farmed an area for 50 years, and every year they pick up every last freaking rock, and the next year there's still a ton of rocks. It just seems to me like there should be very few rocks after a while, but yet they still somehow... My body is trashed from the brutality of my work. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm glad I don't paint houses anymore. It wasn't a bad job. It paid pretty good. But, man, you just climbing up and down the ladder, and a lot of people eventually make a mistake and fall off or something. I hadn't done that, but you know, it's always a risk. And you're just so tired when you get home, and you don't want to do anything because you're tired. Okay, so let's see. The rocks that grow. I'm going to just do that one because... What did they call those things again? Forgot now. Trovants. That's it. Trovants. Or cemented sand. Okay. Trovants. So I don't remember them being quite as big as the last time I looked. Like, well, the first time I looked compared to the last time, which was, what, like a month or two? So they're a lot bigger now. Any form of water rich in calcium carbonate is essential in forming a trovant. And that is also the key to make the rock grow in the presence of rainwater. That's interesting because I don't remember these details last I checked about the calcium carbonate. After every heavy rain shower, trovants absorb the rain's minerals. The minerals are combined with the chemicals already present in the stone that later creates a reaction and pressure inside. The pressure spontaneously makes the rock grow from the center to its margins and multiply with a deposition rate of 4 to 5 centimeters in 1,000 years. Trovants usually appear with smooth and edgeless shapes. Cylindrical, nodular, and spherical trovants develop these inconsistent shapes as they grow and multiply due to irregular cement secretion. You can see these formations grow from a few millimeters to as large as 10 meters. So 10 meters is like 30 feet. Trovants aren't only strange to their structure and ability to grow and multiply, they can also move from one space to another. Other than that, they also have root-like extensions and age rings visible when you cut the stone, but scientists have yet to find out an explanation of these unique features. Okay, I don't remember all that root-like business. Okay, I think I do remember them moving, but I don't remember anything about roots. And I don't remember them being 30 feet either. These rocks came into existence because of the earthquakes, which occurred 6 million years ago. The sand reservoir was created after the successive sedimentation of the detritic material transported by the rivers. Only found in Romania's Valchia County. So yeah, okay. They're getting more plant-like or something with the roots. Now they're like rooted in, apparently. That's different. So if they grow from the outside, from the inside out, then how do they expand without cracking, like repeatedly cracking the outside? That's another thing I don't really get. I mean, if you're growing from the outside larger, it makes sense. But if you're growing from the inside, then you have rock on the outside. Then how do you grow when you're basically entombed in rock? You know, a lot of these stories just don't make sense. That's another one. That's new. I thought they could move unrooted. Yeah, I don't. Okay, so that's the itaclumite. All right, this is just kind of a little side thing. I don't know how many people are even going to know this, but I mean, I've just never. So, heart attacks, okay. There's been a lot of changes in the heart. We've covered that before. I've never heard of this business. Stemi, Nstemi, and silent heart attack. I have never heard of Stemi and Nstemi as terminology, but then suddenly it's like everywhere now. So a Stemi heart attack, the coronary artery is completely blocked. So a big part of the heart muscle is unable to receive blood. And so why they call it Stemi, ST segment elevation, refers to the pattern that appears on the electrocardiogram. Okay, so we've already talked in the past, it's been a couple years, that the sound that the heartbeat seems to have changed, the heartbeat sound over the years. A lot of people don't feel it's the same anymore. So I'm pretty sure that the electrocardiogram's changed, the heart has changed. So now we've got this word STEMI, and an Nstemi refers to non-ST segment elevation, myocardial infarction, Nstemi heart attacks due to the complete blockage or closure of a minor coronary artery or partial blockage or closure of a major artery. So there's not the major arteries are still flowing, at least somewhat, in an Nstemi, but these minor coronary. So that's another thing now. So I just remember there being 3 main arteries in, but apparently now we have these minor coronary arteries that also can cause a problem. And for me, if there was a partial blocking of a main artery, you would not have a heart attack. You would have like heart pains, angina, that kind of stuff, because there's still blood flow, and that would just be in like one artery. So I've never heard of that being a heart attack. It would be angina or just pain, not an attack. Okay, and then this third one I've also not heard of. Now, the terminology is the main issue. I have heard of people having a heart attack and not having that many symptoms, but I've never heard of it called a silent heart attack. Minimal symptoms, if any at all. Now, I've not heard of anybody having a heart attack with no symptoms. For this reason, it is difficult to know when you are experiencing a silent heart attack, which can lead to further complications and even death. According to some reports of a silent heart attack, it can be fused with indigestion or a bad flu. Having a silent heart attack puts a person at a greater risk for experience of a future heart attack. Okay, so I've heard of people having minimal symptoms, but then kind of getting worse and worse, and finally going to the doctor, and they said, okay, you had a heart attack, or you're having, like a very bad blockage. But I've never heard of somebody having like minimal to no symptoms, and it to being a temporary thing, and then them never even knowing they had a heart attack, but yet they're at risk for another heart attack in the future. Silent heart attacks take place when oxygen supply to the heart becomes reduced. Reasons for the reduction: obstruction in the arteries due to plaque buildup. The risk factors listed above can also contribute to the onset of a silent or regular heart attack. So how do you have, a block, low oxygen enough to damage your heart, but yet you don't have much pain or anything? I've not heard of it like that. Anyway, I think there's something going on. Getting weird. Like, you can have a virus, but you feel fine, but it's a case. And you can have a heart attack, but you can feel fine, but it's a heart attack. Okay, whatever. Reality. For dealing with rocks, I just excavate, place a layer of cement, walls included, then place the sieve dirt back. If the rocks still make it, then it means they're born from dirt. Yeah, it's a big project. I guess they say that the rocks come up from deep below, but there's never like any trail where they traveled up or anything. It seems a little too convenient. I don't trust anything in reality anymore. I really think we are in a game, and everything we learn, something spiritual, we level up. Lately, I can hear the ding sound by leveling up. Yeah, no, I have not. I cannot say I heard the ding sound, but I do feel like certain times when I figure out, and sometimes it's just some little thing, like some little thing I've been doing, or some little thought that is counterproductive that I suddenly become aware of that I've been doing for a long time. And I kind of know, I'm like, that, you just figured out something, even if it's just a tiny little thing. All I do know is I am here. Everything can change. The end. You can't know much past that now, can you, anymore? I think it's a school, not a game. I don't think they're necessarily mutually exclusive. I mean, we just have, on Earth, we have the concepts that our Earth brains can understand. But you can be in a game and still learn. So, it need not be all misery, I guess, is my point. I really think a lot of how it really is, like, out there is very hard for us to conceive of. I think our little human brains are very narrow in what they can understand. China says they have succeeded in running a sustained fusion reaction. I assume you're meaning cold fusion. For the second time this week, the plasma is several times hotter than the surface of the sun. Ooh, that'll be interesting. So, for those who don't keep up with it, if you get cold fusion, then theoretically, it's like, instead of nuclear fusion where you'd have all this radioactive material and you need this massive facility like Fukushima and gajillion dollars to set up. So cold fusion could be done, like, currently they could do it in like a big gymnasium size or something. And theoretically, if they can figure out exactly how to control it, they could probably get it a lot smaller, to the point where you could even have a power plant in your back bedroom or something. I mean, it wouldn't happen right away. But what's really cool about that is that, it would essentially, if done right, would solve our power needs for ad infinitum, at least with the usage that we have now. I mean, if we wanted to build like giant starships or something, maybe, I don't know. But, so jumping ship, I don't believe China. I don't think I believe reality anymore. So I just look at this stuff as like foreshadows of the future. If you just look at it like that, cold. So how does things come into reality? The idea is floated, often in a way that is not trusted by everybody. Like maybe it's a shabby rumor or a cartoon or a suspicious Photoshoppy looking image on social media, and that it just kind of grows from there. It maybe then the final version will only be a little bit similar to the first version, but cold fusion was kind of a big thing for a while, and then I didn't hear diddly squiddlies for the last 5-6 years. But I've been thinking about it lately, because basically you could set one of these up on an island and have your own island, and there's a lot of reasons why people are all squished in cities right now. But if you could just get your power plant and set it up for a reasonable price, you could relocate anywhere, and little cities could be put together very quickly. So that's why I'm interested in cold fusion. So there was a time when everybody's like, oh, that's impossible, you're crazy, it's a pipe dream, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of, at least according to reality, a lot of scientists working on it, making progress. China has switched on its HL2M East tokamak. Tokamak is one of the strategies for creating cold fusion. For its first planned full-strength fusion, East, an artificial sun. Oh, okay, so that's the artificial sun, blah, blah. Interesting. I didn't realize that was cold fusion. Okay, I'm pretty sure. Is it just fusion or is it cold fusion? If it's tokamak, it should be cold fusion then. Represents the experimental advanced superconducting tokamak. Team's road to true fusion ignition after years of planning and work. 2018, East made news when tokamak reached 180 million degrees. In 2019, East pushed the boat out further and now it's planned to double that temperature in 2020. Okay, so this is old. So I don't know, like I said, I don't even think as much of China lies or whatever as much as I just think of things coming into the reality. And so if something gets a lot of attention, then I think it might be possibly coming to reality. Unless maybe, I don't know, unless you turn another direction away from it, down a timeline that doesn't have it maybe, or maybe we back out of it. But a lot of this stuff that gets a lot of clamor does show up in some form or another. So, like, we had the zombie apocalypse, and we've had these, all these TVs and movies about viruses and stuff. And now here it is, So how bad is it going to be or how good, though, I wouldn't know in advance. But I'm very interested in cold fusion. So it could solve a lot of problems. It could break up a lot of the power structure if we could have our own, pardon the pun, but the current power structure of oil and electricity, the amount of money we spend on maintaining those things, paying for them. If you could have your own power plant, then you could just thumb your nose at all the infrastructure, really. I mean, so think about that. It's cool. What is the artificial Chinese sun? So basically, it sounds like they were saying it got to like the same heat as the sun inside the cold fusion. The planet Earth is a living thing and humans are its plague. I don't believe that. I really don't. I mean, the Bible doesn't say that, certainly. So if you're going to follow the Bible, I think we're a natural part of here. It's been really popular mantra or script in news media especially the last 10 years, that we're some kind of horrible creatures or ruining the earth. But then if you look at the Mandela, a lot of beautiful earth things are showing up. They're really beautiful. So I used to think more along those lines, but since the Mandela, I don't think like that anymore. I think we're probably driving a lot of the change. And I've talked before about the animals coming into the timelines where they show up and they're nearly extinct. And then there's this whole drama. How about, oh no, they're going to go extinct. I'm wondering if all that phobia just drives people to want more of those animals, and then we get more of those animals, because that particular script seems to like show up every time a new animal shows up. There's this humans are driving to extinction script. So I don't think we're driving them to extinction. And the most obvious reason is because more and more of them keep freaking showing up. So that's not what's happening. So if that's not happening, if we're not driving things to extinction, then, maybe we're not such a plague on the earth. They said that we were ruining the ozone layer, and then suddenly, the ozone layer recovered. Well, they told me that it would be hundreds and hundreds of years before we could even hope to recover the ozone layer. And then it's like, boom, another 10 years later, it's fine. So we didn't ruin the ozone layer. And then we were supposed to have burnt down the whole rainforest by now. And you look on the map, it looks fine. So we didn't burn down the whole thing. So I don't buy this story anymore that we're a plague. I think we are part of the ecosystem, and I think the ecosystem might be more thought driven than anything. I thought cold fusion is not possible yet. Oh, I've been following it for the last 10 years, even before the Mandela. And they had made some like brief few seconds of apparent success, and then the whole lab went boom. But if you can do it for 2 seconds, then it's doable. You just have to figure out where you went wrong after the 2 seconds. But that was so weird when I heard about the ozone recovered. Yep. So it's hard for me to really believe we're ruining the earth now, because all of these ruinings that we supposedly did, the majority of them have magically disappeared. we form this reality in a way. Yeah, I think likely. Okay, so that's my heart attack yammer. Okay, this one is extra funny. This one was found by a user on Retcon known as Bubonic Babe. Bubonicbabe. This one is funny. So apparently, France is sending us another Statue of Liberty. It's smaller little version of the regular Statue of Liberty. And guess where they're gonna put it? I bet you know the answers. Even you who have not heard of this yet, I bet you can figure out where they're gonna put this mini Lady of Liberty. I know you all know the answers. Miners can see frequencies in the rock. Well, that'd be cool, but I haven't been able to do it. I'm not a miner, but I mean, I do like rock slot, and I have been in mines, and I have gone into mines and picked on them and picked out like fluorite, which you don't have to like kill yourself. And I've done some agate and stuff. I wouldn't call myself a miner, but I have taken a rock hammer and wailed on the inside of mines. They were successful in convincing us that we are small, not important creatures who cannot use the 99% of our brain. Yeah, see, I think that's, I think that may be unhealthful to think of ourselves in such a horrible way. And if you look at psychology and their research, it kind of shows that if you think of yourself a certain way, and if others tell you you're that way repeatedly, like if a child is told that they're useless or whatever, bad or whatever when they're growing up, they're more likely to actually become those things. You actually live up to expectations. So if your expectations are low quality, you're more likely to take that same route. You're basically programmed. You're being programmed to do as you're told, and it even accounts to the negative stuff. So I don't think it's a good idea to think of ourselves as like a plague. And I don't think we're ruining the earth. I might have agreed with that before the Mandela, but I've just seen too much now that... I think a solar eclipse is coming soon. I don't know, there's like a couple a year anymore, isn't there? We just had one. Talking about all the particle accelerators. Yeah, that's an older one for me that there's so many, but we talked about that like 4 years ago, for me anyway. The first one was not a gift. I know. We're talking about the Statue of Liberty. So you guys know where it's going. It's going to Ellis Island. So, where the original one was for us, but never was for this timeline. So Ellis Island's going to get a mini Statue of Liberty. And this means that anytime somebody types in a Google Statue of Liberty on Ellis Island, guess what articles they're going to get? A cajillion of these freaking articles on this mini Statue of Liberty. So here's what's interesting on this one, and this was pointed out to somebody in the comments on the retcon thread, was apparently they even were confused about where the big one was. Now, I really wish I had seen what they wrote before, but they changed it. This story has been corrected to show that the Statue of Liberty is on Liberty Island, not Ellis Island. So even these people writing about it saw the Mandela just as us and remembered it on Ellis Island. So I kind of wonder what it said, because how do they wrangle they're getting this one on Ellis Island, and what, they thought there's going to be two on Ellis Island, the big one and the little one? So, I don't know. It's all weird. So, you can see it's pretty tiny, but still. So, now it's going to be a lot harder to find residual of Statue of Liberty on Ellis Island. Doesn't it seem like whenever there's a really good Mandela, then there'll be some kind of social media or articles or something that will make it impossible to find that for the average person anymore? Portals erected in Lithuania and Poland allow people to see each other in real time. The warp gate-like images are interesting. I've seen that. Now, have I had that on? I don't think I did because it wasn't really a Mandela. All right, let me just see what's Lithuania. I saw that and I thought it was really interesting, but it's not Mandela-y, at least not yet. But it's cool. It's kind of like a Stargate style or something. And I mean, the tech is really not that big a deal, but yet it's so cool. So basically, they have these portals, and it basically just shows you what's on the other side. So they're like really big live streams, basically. So people in one country can see what's next to the portal in the other country. So you can wave at people across the countries and they'll see you. I don't think there's any sound, but it's basically just live streaming, but like it's on a really cool art portal and it's really big. Or like a cam. It's basically just a cam, but yet it's so cool. And I kind of wonder, if it's like maybe the seeds of something new. I guess I think about that for everything now, but the portal was between England and New York 2 to 3 years ago. I don't remember seeing that until just recently for myself. There's another thing that changed for me, though. A couple days ago, I noticed. So, for years now, we've had trouble with rodents chewing the wires in the trucks. And for quite a number of years, the storyline was that they used peanut oil to pull the wires, and the peanut oil attracted the rodents to chew on the wires. So I was trying to tell someone about the peanut oil story and link it, and I couldn't find the peanut oil story. Now the story is that they used, what was it? Not tofu. It was in the insulation, and it wasn't an oil. It was, now I'm going to have to look it up. It wasn't tofu. What was that? Darn it, now I can't find it. It was something like that though. It wasn't tofu, but it was like that kind of a material, and it was not peanut oil anymore, was my point though. Sasquatches uses trees to teleport. Okay, I'm kind of going to assume that is not mainstream accepted. But I don't know. I have said before that for me, there was only a Sasquatch in one area, and then they weren't all over the world. It started as just one area. So that whole thing keeps changing. I came across this YouTube video on dry fishing. The man found catfish in a tree trunk. That one has been on. And there's, I also covered where they pour like a little bit of chemical into, and it's not even that big of, it's like, I don't know what, some kind of salt or something, into a little bit on the surface of muddy areas, and then the fish just pop out. They're living in the mud. That was also on there. I can't find the UK New York portal. Yeah, might not be there anymore. It went with the peanut oil and the wires, I think. All right, so we got the mini Statue of Liberty, trolling, portals, rats. Got that one. All right, this one. So the sandstone was found by, the wiggly sandstone was found by Will Work for Answers, so good find there. He's found a lot. This one I found, was it yesterday maybe? So we've had this sea foam, and the sea foam is supposedly caused by algae that was churned up by the waves. But now we have another algae issue, and it's sea snot. Sea snot, or marine mucilage, is a collection of mucus-like organic matter found in the sea. The creamy, gelatinous substance is generally not harmful, but can attract viruses and bacteria, including E. coli, and it can become a blanket that suffocates the marine life below. So as you guess it, it's snot-like. It looks like snot. It acts like snot. So here's some of it. Turkey unveils action plan to save Marmara Sea amid sea snot outbreak. Okay, so they're like, oh, we have to do something or it'll spread, and it's related to pollution. Here's a bunch of boats stuck in the sea snot. Alarms residents. Pretty gross. I've never heard of sea snot. So, what was it? Marmara, they said it was the, sea snot Marmara. Let's just go there. Turkey, Marmara. I just wanted to cover the map really quick because I'm a little suspicious of that area as well. Where's the map? That is not the map. So, of course, there's all this drama about how pollution is causing all these problems in the Sea of Marmara. So this is the Sea of Marmara right here. And so what's weird about it is I don't even remember there being a Sea of Marmara. So I've said before, the Black Sea is approaching the Mediterranean and connecting. So that was a while back. I expect over here is going to connect somehow. Maybe through these little waterways through here. But it's taking its sweet time. Ooh, I just realized something. Wait a freaking minute. Okay, so Saudi Arabia is a lot bigger, but look, it's really close to having a giant connection here, or really thick connection with the Mediterranean. There's not much left. This was not that close to the Mediterranean before. I don't know when it got there. But the Red Sea, which apparently is turning red, is really close to being attached to the Mediterranean now. I don't remember that at all. That was over here. The Mediterranean was way over here. And this area up here also is really thickening, interestingly. This whole shape looks weird to me. So anyways, but the Sea of Marmara, which is there, I do not believe that this was here before. There was just like a river thing. So when they say, oh, the pollution is destroying the Sea of Marmara, you know, I didn't even heard of the Sea of Marmara. And I've been watching here as these areas connect up. So again, it's highly difficult for me to get all upset about a sea that just showed up and now I'm supposed to be convinced that we're destroying it. Man, this whole Mediterranean is looking funky. And what's this over here? I don't remember this thing. What is that even? Oh, okay, I get it. So the issue here is Italy is really big. So it used to be Italy is a little thing, and there's a little water, but now it's like huge. Italy. So I'm not sure if Italy's really grown or it's just that the rest of this is really shrunk. But there didn't used to be, and then Italy used to stick out like straight, and it was tiny. Now it's like kicked back, and it's tripping over Sicily. These two islands are huge, so that's why that looks weird because it's the area by Sicily, by Italy. But Italy is huge now. Dang, that's weird. Okay, this area too. I think I covered this last time. That looks more established than I remember it. Coming through over here. I'm still waiting to see how this lake's going to attach. It just seems to be a pattern that all the lakes are hooking up with each other. The waterways. So, just wondering how. Where did Australia go? Here we go. Check on New Auckland here and see if it's split yet. Now that I have this nice map up. Right there. Doesn't look like it's moved yet. I'm still waiting to see if this one will calve off, but it doesn't look like it's budged that much. Less than a mile. I think it was about 0.75 miles last time. It looks like it might still be that. Yeah, maybe a little less than 0.75. Let's look how it looks like on the satellite. Really just this much now. Really more like 0.25 miles. There's just really 0.25 miles now. Because this looks like it's made some progress. Yeah. Okay. So it's 0.75 miles before, but now it's 0.25 miles. And I think it's because of this Mangari Inlet. This has not moved, but this has moved. Interesting. It wasn't that long ago since we looked at this. All right, so we've got... Yeah, because here to here is 0.25. It's really like 0.25 to 0.3 miles left before this calves. I mean, they're still going to say that that's a shallow river and it's that it, you know, they're not going to officially say that it's a separate island, but I think that that'll be step one. This splits off and then, I mean, I don't know for sure, but for me that there was only, also because they started calling this North Island over here, Northland, and since it's already got its own name, I think it's going to split off. So for me, there was only one whole big fat island originally, and there wasn't this snaky thing out here. Okay, but yes, I've covered that before, so let's move on. Clumbolite, sea snot. Invasion of the sea snot. All right. Okay, so what's that thing that we saw on the thumbnail? That was found by Will Work for Answers on Retcon. Very good find. Will Work for Answers. He has been working. She has been working for answers. Popcorn Beach. Okay, so there's a beach now that has rocks that look like popcorn. Just like popcorn. Like they look like popcorn enough that you want to eat them. Does it not look like popcorn? So all of this is like this. And they're supposedly algae fossils. Again, as a rock hound, I have never heard of this. I should know about Algae Fossils Beach. One of the places that described it, called it, going back here, they called it, is one of the exciting new secrets of the Canary Islands. It's a new secret. Does that even make any sense? It's a new secret. So definitely sounds like people are not familiar with this. Most people aren't. This one I think is the one that says it's a new secret. It's a famous beach on the island of Fuerteventura. It's a famous beach, but it is one of the most exciting new secrets. It's famous, but it's a new secret. None of this makes sense. Who writes these things? Okay, so there shows more. Handful of popcorn like algae found in Fuerteventura, Playa de las Palomitas. Most interesting beaches in Fuerteventura. And it's not really hard to get to. So it's not like out in the middle of nowhere or anything. Canary Islands are a very popular visitors location. These marine algae are called rhodoliths, and although initially red in color, they turn white over time. The waves push them ashore, also giving them their unique shape. This natural phenomenon can be observed in other beaches too, but Popcorn Beach in Fuerteventura is one of the most impressive. Okay, so there's other popcorn beaches. This isn't the only one. Popcorn Beach is located on the northern coast of Fuerteventura, close to the town of Caralejo in the municipality of La Oliva. You can get to the beach on foot from Caralejo, taking a 1-hour hiking trail. Alternatively, you can drive to Popcorn Beach following Manjanito Street, east of the coastal village of Manjanito. Tip, there's a small cafe on the beach, perfect for snacks and some much needed water. Okay, so it looks like it's fairly built up. This is not like some mystery place. There's more than one of these beaches, accordingly, supposedly. Does it taste like popcorn? No. Yeah, I kind of figured that one. But I don't know. It seems a little strange to me that this has not showed up before now. Oh, my picture's really big, blocking a lot of what I was showing. Well, sorry, it's all gone now. Anyway, if you pull up the Sea of Marmara, you can see all that stuff. Whenever I look at the Earth map, I just want to scream and run away. Nothing as I remember. Yeah, I wish I had my old map back just so I could look at it. I don't know. It bugs me that I, don't have a perfect memory of it. And it keeps changing, so it's just like, I feel like it's trying to rewrite my memory, and I don't like it. Now Italy is in danger of splitting in half because of a deep fault line I never heard of before, and it is over a caldera larger than Yellowstone's. What, they got another super volcano over there now? Let's see. Italy will split in half. Yeah, so I'm not really worried about these super volcanoes. I think, this is all... Reality is not just random. And it's not just going to blow and kill us all unless that's the destiny. And if it's destiny, there's no sense in worrying about it. Alright, I don't want the beachfront property. Let's try fault line. Fault line. Ooh. Oh. Increased earthquake activity and warnings are more to come. I don't even know if that's a legit image or not, though. Looks a little suspicious. Okay. Plate tectonic stock photos. That could be anything. Helium is leaking from San Francisco's fault lines. Yeah, it looks like this is a stock image. So, who knows what it is. Alright, let me just try this one now. Or maybe this one. Norcia earthquake. Why multiple quakes are hitting Italy. The boundary fault line runs through Sicily, which is why they have volcanoes around there. Meanwhile, Italy itself is split up the middle, with the west coast moving northwest and the east coast moving northeast along the rest of the Adriatic. Okay, so it might split in half is the story. Italy will leave EU sooner or later. Oh, wait, that's totally an unrelated thing. Okay. Well, anyways, on we go. All right, this one is kind of a subtle one. Some people didn't remember seeing this. Shari D found this, but she doesn't remember seeing the ribbon worm before. I do remember seeing it and covering it in the past, but the details have changed for me. So if this was kind of viral a while ago, basically somebody had this gross worm in their hand, and then it shot out this ribbony stuff. Meet the bizarre and creepy ribbon worm. And it was like super viral like 2 or 3 years ago. It might have been this one. So he's holding the thing in his hand, and then all these, and this, what I remember them being is intestines. They were intestines. They shot out, and it was all gross. But what's weird is, so it was, for me, I'm sure it was intestines, because this always got me. There's other worms, sea worms, that do this, that if you step on them, like when I was in Guam, there's these big, what do they call those stupid things? There's these big puffy, they're not worms, but they're like it. They're like big purple loafs. They were dark purplish, blackish. And if you stepped on those by mistake, they would blop out their guts, and they were all sticky, and it would stick to you. And then they would just escape. Like, you would have the guts all stuck on you, and they would escape, and they could regenerate their guts. And so I was told it was a huge hassle to get the guts off, and it was bad for the worm. So these freaking things are everywhere. So when you're walking along the water, you have to be really careful not to step on these, and they're like everywhere. So it was a total like landmine situation. So I remember these ribbon worms being like that, and so I thought it was very suspicious. But I'm like, okay, those are just like all the other worms that barf out their guts. But now this is not guts anymore. It's a proboscis. So it's like this mouth part thing. And so for me, that's totally changed. See if I can find the info on it. Fun facts about the ribbon worms. That might do it. I don't think I had anyone specifically planned here. There's a bunch of them. No, I want that one with the proboscis. Maybe this one will have 20 ads, but we'll get through it. Okay, so now it doesn't come out of the gut end. It comes out of like the mouth end. It's kind of stored in the middle. I'm going to play the video. Hopefully I don't get a giant copyright. That's actually not the same video, I don't think. Okay, so there it is, spreading out its grossy proboscis self. That's not the original one, but it's gross enough. The milky goo is hunting gear. So for me, though, it was just a defensive mechanism where it would spread out its guts and then cut the guts loose and try to escape. And it could die if it wasn't able to regenerate. And so they were like, oh, it's so mean that you're molesting this poor worm, and it'll probably die now because you're just a horrible human, blah, blah, blah. But now it's like a hunting proboscis is what they're saying. The milky goo is actually the worm's hunting gear, a very rare branching proboscis that this aggressive predator shoots out from the specialized port to net prey, including mollusks, snails, and even other sea worms. It then drags the captured prey into its mouth and swallows it whole. So now it's no longer in danger of dying because those aren't its guts. And it's just hunting on your hand. The worm also throws out its proboscis as a defensive strategy, and that's what we're seeing in this video. The worm tries to defend itself by casting out the proboscis, which splatters against the man's hand, and then the worm starts convulsing. That's not good. What we're seeing is a very stressed worm that's doing everything it can to try to get away from the situation that it's in. No wonder, because the worm just likes the open air. If you pick up a ribbon worm, its fragile body often simply falls apart. Amazingly, that generally doesn't kill it. We're not sure if it's able to regenerate or not, but it doesn't seem to be fatal to the worm to break like that. Interesting. That's a new part too. So I do remember that they could break off that intestinal part and probably recover, but I don't remember the whole body being able to regenerate. Since the worm in this video seems to be in one piece, it's possible that it was returning to the water within 10 minutes, about as long as the ribbon worm Kavist has collected seem to tolerate being out of the water. It could have survived its trip to dry land. All right, so anyways, it's just a total change for me about, the image looks almost the same, but the storyline behind it has shifted. So yeah, anyway, it was Shari who found that one. So I've had that on the show before. I don't know if you guys remember it, or is it a different timeline, or what? Yeah, the star sand. I'm gonna have that one on eventually. Wait, whoop, what did it say? Something about black goo. Even Google Earth is questionable. It's Google black goo. The star sand is stranger than popcorn sand. In a way, yes. Look for colored snakes. There's more. Okay, let me check that one. I studied the Canary Islands and never heard of this. Talking about that popcorn beach. And there's supposed to be more than one. I showed the popcorn beach to my husband and I had to make popcorn for him. Yeah, there's something about seeing something that looks tasty, then you crave it. We have no clue what it actually looks like. The maps are made up. Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's true, but as you probably know by now, I'm kind of a sim theory kind of person. So if everything is a simulation, the map's a simulation, it gets too confusing to even say what's real and what isn't at that point. Okay, so what was it? Colored snakes. That's what we were at. Colored snakes. Doink. I think this one's been on. Highly suspicious. Harlequin colored snake pictures. They're starting to look like they've just been knitted out of yarn anymore. Well, I had that. Ooh, what's that one? All right, I seriously doubt the integrity of that image. Okay, quite possibly, although maybe in a few shifts we'll get it. I've had that one on. I think I've had that one on. So these ones are, I wouldn't be surprised if we get this, but whether it's real currently or not, I think is open for question. I might as well click on a few of them and see. So the iridescent scales, we've had that one on. I'm just going to click on this. It's just that these aren't the most reliable looking channels or websites. Yeah, I don't even think that's an image. It looks like it's a painting or like a digital art. Photoshop submission. Yeah, not yet. We might get something like that eventually, but. Okay, so it doesn't look hugely different. Worth 1,000 contest. I don't think those are legit images there. That one is a cloth item. It's not a real snake. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're coming, but I don't think these really wild ones are here yet. Oops, excuse me. Dropped everything. Okay. There's a hypothesis that the new quantum computers are affecting parallel universes or dimensions. Yeah, I don't know. It's not my favorite one. I mean, if there's all this quantum reality, then I don't see how a computer is going to just have control over it. But who knows? Sea urchin now wears hat. I've seen it where they wear old scungy junk to hide. Wears hats. Let's see what we get here. Sea urchins like wearing hats. Sea urchins wear shells like hats. I've never heard of sea urchins wearing shells like hats. So Aquarius made tiny hats. This one's kind of hurting my brain. So I dispute that sea urchins like wearing shells like hats. For starters. After noticing urchins carrying rock shells and even hermit crabs around in his 120-gallon saltwater aquarium. You know, I never had a saltwater myself, but I know a lot of people who did. I used to go to the fish store and watch them a lot. I've never seen a sea urchin carry any freaking thing around. So now they work like wearing hats. This army of 2 feet essentially grabs onto the upper surface of the objects, manipulating the object like little levers. And they flip it onto the urchin itself. So you just put the hats in there and they put them on themselves. These dexterous echinoderms coordinate their appendages to lift objects onto their spines, sometimes making multiple attempts when their coverings slip off. Okay, so you can buy these hats and put them in for your sea urchins. All right, this is definitely a reality trolling. I'm going to write it down. Sea urchins like wearing hats. You can't make this stuff up. That's a good find. My brother was a sea urchin diver and happens to be visiting. I'll ask him about shell hat wearing sea urchins. So there was the one species that liked to cover itself with old shells and dirt and garbage, but that's the only one I've heard of that does that. Now I want sea urchins as pets. I think a lot of them are poisonous in there. Well, last I checked, they were quite a hassle, but skittle snakes. Somebody wrote skittle snakes. Adders can't multiply? Oh, gosh. I'm not even going to say anything about that one. I'm typing in skittle snakes just to see. I don't know if you made that open up as a joke or if that's a real thing. Skittles ball python. Oh, it's a specific snake name. Okay. We don't have any skittle snakes yet. It might come, though. All right, Popcorn Beach, ribbon worm. All right, so now let's get to Star Sand Beach. This one also was found from You Will Work for Answers on Redcon. Star Sand Beach, Japan. Made by tests of microscopic. Trying to find my original one here. Oh, the wiki. That's what I want. Star Sand Beach wiki. Nope, that's not wiki. Ah, my brain is firing too fast. Here we go. Okay, so Star Sand Beach. Basically, there's like this beach where the little grains of sand are star-shaped. No, not sand. I want Star Sand Beach. Darn, there was a wiki for it, I'm sure, because I wrote, check the wiki. All right, maybe it's like this. All right, I'm just going to go to slate then because I'm not finding it. But there were some issues I just basically want to cover that I found in Wiki, assuming it still exists. Okay, so these little grains of sand, grains of sand are visible with the naked eye. You might have to squint a bit. But so apparently they're star-shaped. Okay, so this is where it gets weird. Oh, you know what? It might have been foraminifera. Okay, I'll cover this one. Thinking about grains of sand as stars in the sky is blah, blah. Okay, so it's Hoshizuna no Hama, Star Sand Beach, located in Iriomote Island. Never heard of that. And your feet will become encrusted with tiny star-shaped tests, T-E-S-T-S, or shells, produced by microscopic unicellular protists known as foraminifera. So you think of foramins, it was like those holes that showed up in the skull. Now there's these protists called foraminifera. So what's weird is they're saying that they're microscopic. Now, the sand is big enough to be visible with the naked eye. I mean, it's tiny, but you can see it. So how is it? I looked up the definition of microscopic, and it is you could only see it with a microscope. You cannot see it with the naked eye in order for something to be microscopic. So how does a microscopic unicellular protists make these tests that are visible to the naked eye? So they didn't say anything about them working in groups. I don't know if that's going to show up later or what. Okay, so you can see there on the finger, some of them are regular sand and some are these stars. This shows the stars in amongst the regular sand. Right. Now, I believe that the wiki I needed was foraminifera. Foraminifera. There's a reason why I wanted to cover some of this here. Okay, so they make these tests. So first of all, they're microscopic. And how do they make a macroscopic visible to the naked eye shell? You can see the shells are full of holes. So it gets weirder than that, though. Foraminifera typically produce a test or shell which can have either one or multiple chambers, some becoming quite elaborate in structure. These shells are commonly made of calcium carbonate or agglutinated sediment particles. They are usually less than 1 millimeter in size. So you could see, a millimeter, you can see those. But some are much larger. The largest species reaches up to 20 centimeters. So they don't say that they're group creatures, but I mean, if it reaches up to 20 centimeters, that's pretty big. Okay, so what I'm trying to get to is that they're saying, where did that say that? Okay, here. There's the test. This may consist of one or more multiple chambers. It may be composed of protein, sediment, blah, blah, blah. Unlike other shell-secreting organisms, such as mollusks or corals, the tests of foraminifera are located inside the cell membrane. Okay, so if they're microscopic and these tests are inside the cell membrane, then how is it they're so big? So these tests are inside the cell membrane. Within the protoplasm, the organelles of the cell are located within the compartments of the test. And the holes of the test allow the transfer of materials from the pseudopodia to the internal cell and back. So you have a microscopic creature that has a shell, but the shell is inside the cytoplasm and surrounds some of the organelles inside. So how are we seeing these? I just don't get how they're visible to the naked eye if this is supposed to be microscopic and it's supposed to cover organelles inside. It doesn't make sense to me. What am I missing? I looked up the definition of microscopic. It says not visible to the naked eye. And you can see that these are obviously are. I mean, how big would the cell have to be that just a shell around an organelle would be visible to the naked eye? So I couldn't figure that mess out. That was just weird. So that's Star Sand Beach. Makes no sense beach to me. So they're not baby starfish skeletons. Nope. They're this foraminifera thing that has these shells around their organelles. What cats can mimic birds? Oh, is that a thing now? This does not surprise me. I think I've covered that animals... Oh, you know what? I have not. I have not covered this, but I'm now going to say it. Cats can mimic birds. You know, I saw one that went viral, and it was a dog that made a total meow noise at a cat, and the cat, like, swiveled its head around and looked all pissed off. And then we've had on long ago that cat that sounded like a dog. Ooh, okay, this almost makes... No, it doesn't really make sense. Okay, I don't know if you've ever had a cat. Not all of them will do that, but some cats, if they see like a bird in the window and they get really excited, they'll do this chatter thing where they'll snap their mouth in a chatter, like it's almost like they're cold, but they'll be like, okay, and then there's a kind of clacky noise that they make. And so I looked up this before, and they said, because I wonder why the hell they do that, they said it was the cat mimicking the motion of chomping the animal's neck. And a lot of times it was birds, but it could be other small things it sees outside. Chirping. So it was always called chattering, but it sounds like they're calling it chirping now. Chirping is a sign of feline excitement. Birds are the most common prey of domestic cats. In addition to excitement, the cat is also imitating the birds. Cats are born mimics. The cat is hoping to trick birds into coming closer so it can pounce on them. Feline chirping can have a dark side. Eventually, a cat will grow frustrated by its inability to reach the prey. The chirping then becomes a more agitated chattering. Remove the cat from the window at this stage. Okay. So, my current cat, I've never seen him do it. Other cats I have seen do that, but not this one. So I don't know what it sounds like anymore. But I can tell you that it did not sound like a bird before, ever. They go straight into the chatter, and that was it. There was no imitation, anything. I don't know. So it sounds suspicious. I've never heard of this. But the actual chattering thing is not new to me. But the storyline is new to me. I've seen cats barking videos, and when they realized someone was watching them, they changed it to meowing. It was creepy. I had that on a long time ago. Yeah, it's one of my old videos. I haven't seen a lot more with that, but I've seen other things. So, thanks for reminding me. I suspect that possibly we may get animals that can speak in, like, human words. So there's been a lot of threads of dogs that say I love you and like that, but it's gotten more and more complicated, especially with like the huskies make a lot of really weird noises. Then I saw a few days ago there was that dog that made a meow noise. There's all these storylines of imitation animals, like an animal walks funny because it grew up with horses and so it walks like a horse even though it's not a horse. That never used to be the case. A cat would always walk like a cat, whether it grew up with horses or dogs or whatever. It would always walk like a cat. So this whole imitation of sounds thing, it seems to be ramping up. And then we get this thing where the pets can step on the little buttons and speak. So we're starting to get sentences and concepts. I would not be surprised in the like maybe 5-10 years we might get animals like speaking kind of. I mean we've already got birds that can make the sound. So I think that might be coming. I think we're seeing the writing on the wall. It may be a lot of shifts, but I think it might be coming. Okay, people. Okay, so when I was looking up Star Sand Beach, that was found by Will Work for Answers, and also he found Popcorn Beach. Good find, good find. Then when I was looking at those, I found Bowling Ball Beach. And this one's pretty funny because it's in California. I should know about it. I was even near there going to Jade Beach once. And I never heard of Bowling Ball Beach. So apparently there's this beach that's full of like concretions that look like bowling balls. So you can see that they really do. They're not perfect, but they might get better with time. I would give it some time. I have not heard of this before, this beach. Now they're saying when it's at high tide you can't really see them, but they're all like the same shape, and they're all. This is pretty weird. Why are they all the same shape? So they're saying these are concretions, and it is at Bowling Ball Beach, California. I don't know. I forgot where it was. It's up, kind of by Sacramento there, but along the beach, of course, not inland. All right. So anyway, I didn't want that one's weird. I don't remember Bowling Ball Beach. And then when I was looking up that one, I found Dead Horse Bay, New York. So what's weird about this is this one is another one of those beaches covered with glass. Supposedly, it was kind of a dumping ground for glass and junk. So I was under the impression there was only one unique in the world location that was like full of glass, and that was California. And I was already suspicious that that glass beach was a Mandela, because I had not heard of it until like 3-4 years ago. But now there appears to be another glass beach. This one's like got a lot of bottles on it. I don't know how. Some of them they're saying are antique, and somehow they're intact. And I don't see how they would stay intact. They should all break up and then just become glass beach like California's is. But I'm just gonna shut the window because I left it open and suddenly it's like really cold. So hold on a sec. All right, that's better. It's been kind of hot during the day, so we're trying to cool the house down at night, but it's starting to get a little ridiculous now. All right, so Dead Horse Beach. These are antique bottles, often intact, as you can see here. New York, I've never heard of there being two glass beaches, so I'm really suspicious about that one. I don't see how they'd wash up and stay intact. I'm sorry, but no. Matt from Quantum Conscious has a cat and he can say, I love you. Yep, I think we're going to get a lot more than that eventually. Cats are born mimics. Yeah, I know. Since when? Born manipulators, yeah, but I've never heard of them being mimics. All right, Shari put the link to the barking like a dog one. I'm not going to play that because that's like a copyright strike waiting to happen, but it's right here on the sidebar if you want to go there. I've recently been watching mudlarkers who go through the mud during low tide and gather old bottles, ironware, trinkets, glass, pottery, blah blah blah. Well, I've definitely known people who did that with the metal detectors. Okay, so time for a bong rip. Yes, well, after you get that one ripped, then you won't be too surprised when you see the purple cow. Okay, granted, it's not super purple. It's kind of like a gray purple. Why did I type that in? Did I type that in there? No. I did, didn't I? I'm really tired today. I'm not supposed to be typing it in there. I'm supposed to be typing it in here. Oh my gosh. I got up like super early today, and I don't know why. I just didn't feel that sleepy, but it's catching up with me. Okay, so a purple cow was born. This one was also found by Will Work for Answers. It was a while ago. So apparently this milk brand called Milka always has purple cows. So then there was a big deal. This is their advertising thing. So when a real cow is born with purple color fur, you know, like I said, it's not super purple, but Milka was very interested in it. So there's the calf, Serbia's purple calf with its mother. It's got a very interesting color patterning on it too. So let's see, there wasn't a ton of info on it, just that it was born. The Milka company went down there and did a photo op and gave them Milka products. I don't even know of this company, but I've just heard of it because of this cow. So yes, we've had purple squirrels. Now we've had a purple cow. And if it will ever load. And then I've only got one more, actually. I think I'm down the home stretch. Okay, there's the cow. They don't have very many photos of it. So supposedly it was healthy and everything. It was just kind of purple. Yeah, not much info. He's this nice cow and everybody loves him. Where will they find the purple people? I know we've had blue people. I don't know if we've had purple people. Real purple person. Just checking. You never know anymore. Purple eyes. All right, doesn't look like we have any purple people. Wait a minute. Nope, not yet, not yet. Fugates of Kentucky, they were blue. Just checking out this Porphyria. Now, I'm pretty sure that that's supposed to be blue also. All right. Nope. I think we don't have purple people yet. Look up purple skin. Real purple skin. All right, that was a cosplay attempt. Purple eyes again. All right, I don't think there's any purple people yet. I wouldn't be surprised if we do eventually get them. Now, this guy was supposed to be blue. He is looking a little purplish in there, but it's still, I think, blue. Colloidal silver guy. So, you know, some of these guys are really close now. So, I could see them maybe getting some purplish tones as well. There was one up top. Let's see. Yeah. If you're talking about her, that was some kind of botched cosplay effort. It's not natural. Okay, so I'm still not seeing anything. All right, so the last one, Milka Brand was found by Will Work for Answers again, and one more from Will Work for Answers. So we've covered double rainbow before. But something has changed about the double rainbow. Okay, so first we had the ordinary boring rainbow. And then we got double rainbows. And we're like, I don't remember there being double rainbows. But, oh, they're rare and yam yam. Then I did notice that rainbows kind of they'd be sometimes flatter or less flat. There'd be some like really kind of flattened ones. So it's like, and then they're saying, oh, the real shape of rainbow is a circle. All of that was highly suspicious. And I was sure that the rainbows used to always have one curve to them, but now they have different curves. Okay, so then like the space in between when there's a double rainbow darkened. So we now have this dark swath in there. Okay, and then the latest change. Oh, also, I think we had some weird, like, nope, I don't, oh, ooh, this is interesting. Okay, I think that's still just that it's dark in the middle and it's not showing the white, but let me see if I can find one that really shows it. This one is pretty good. Ooh, it might be kind of tiny, though. Okay, so what has changed now? For me, this is different, and it's the way the colors are on these. See if I can find a better one. This one might show it pretty good. All right, so what he noticed was that it used to be that there'd be one rainbow and another rainbow, and they would just have the same color. But now it's inverted on the second rainbow, so that the red is always pointing towards the other rainbow, no matter where it is. Okay, so this is kind of, it's a fakey one, but it's an accurate portrayal now, more or less, because it shows the red pointing inwards on both. So this one is now inverted compared to that one. And they're all like that now. So I like, see, like this one, I never had this weird shape on a rainbow before. It's too roundy and stuff, but now that's a legit rainbow. I might add that in January when I was coming back from Arizona, I saw a double rainbow and it was darkened in the middle, and it was also for a brief while absolutely the most brightest, vivid, shockingly bright bit of rainbow I have by far ever seen in my life. Okay, so now residual for double rainbow. This is how I remember it, where they were both the same. 1 and the 2. So there's a lot of still residual in these art. This shows another example of it. Granted, those are not one on top of each other, but it's the same general idea. See what other art I can scrape up here. All right, again here, same thing. All of them have the same patterning. This one, again, more residual, all have the same patterning. This one, residual, same thing. So apparently, like, most people don't know that there's an inversion going on. But, you know, these are pretty new for me, these double rainbow things. So I think the inversion is very new. So I'll be curious to see if a lot of this residual disappears later. Here's another one, same thing. So this is interesting because now there had been a Mandela where people remembered the colors going the other way. But now you could have it either way because if it's on the top or the bottom, it'll be different. So I'm going to make a prediction on what's coming down the chute because I think the next thing we've got this colored in spot. I can't imagine the Mandela is just going to be satisfied with the darkening of the center. I think something else is going to happen in here. I'm not sure what. Maybe it'll just get darker at first. But basically, it sounds to me like this is like the precursor to having like really fat rainbows. So first there was 2. Then this middle spot has filled in. So it really looks like one big bow now. And they're obviously not separate entities because they invert to each other and they block out the center. So what's going to happen with this? I think there's going to be like some kind of phenomena that happens in the center area. I'm not sure what. Is it just going to fill in with colors or sparkly things? There could be additional color changes here. You can kind of see it kind of happening where it's lighter here and darker here. And if you look over here, there's more of a concept. So maybe we'll have additional brightness variations, but I think there's going to be like more and more stuff with these rainbows. I think we're just seeing like the beginnings of this little game. So I almost put this as the thumbnail, but I already have, I believe, an older one thumbnail for an older video that had these. But anyway, that's it now. I'm pretty much done. Ice cracks make colors. Ooh, let's see. Rainbow. Kind of curious what made all that. Oh, a window film. Okay, nothing that exciting. Rainbow ice. I think that's just dye. Ice crack color. Not to be confused with ice crack cocaine. This is not too surprising though, because you've got quartz and other things. Prisms, all that make rainbow patterns. So why not ice? Hey, why not? Okay, I'm not really finding it, but man, that sounds so plausible compared to anything else we've seen that it would not at all surprise me. I've already covered that I don't remember all the colors in icebergs that we have. They were just white for me. But now there's like blue and red streaks and I'm not seeing a lot right here, but you can see it on this one. Red streaks, and they're Clear colors. Ooh. All right. I'm going to have to bring it up a notch. Okay, so yeah, that kind of shows it. So these are like green streaks, striped icebergs. We didn't have those. Very nice. I think that's some of the blue. So there's red and it's algae, and there's blue and green. Haven't seen purple yet, but I'd give it some time. Very neat. Striped icebergs. I found the bottom of the iceberg oddly satisfying, so it's very green. There's a red one. I thought those have all been on, so they're not new. I have some Mexican fire agates that are insane with oil on them. Yeah, I have some of those. If you polish them, they're pretty good without anything. My mom told me when she was a kid, the teacher told the class there's a new invention, plastic, and it will be used everywhere. Yeah, it's hard to imagine that people thought that was cool stuff because now everybody's like, cheap plastic. Striped icebergs are new. Not for me. I had that one on a number of years ago, maybe like the beginning of when I was first doing my show, those were on. Ice volcanoes have been on. Yep, definitely weird. Look at nature, it's more fun than looking at society. Yeah, I could definitely agree with you there, especially these days. Angels don't fall. Oh, you do the cutting and polishing. Yep, I was hoping to get out and do more rock hounding, but everybody else is afraid of the COVID, so they're not going out. People thought polyester clothing was cool. You know, some things stand the test of time better than other things. All right, well, that's about it. It's been almost 2 hours. I'm sleepy, so I think I'm going to head on out. So as usual, you guys found a lot. Will Work for Answers found a lot. Thank you. Shari, there's a number of people that have helped out, so very much appreciate all your comments, all your suggestions. The show gets to be a lot longer because you guys, some days, especially when I don't have that many of my own. So thank you so much. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.